Hello and welcome to the Inforunners podcast. I'm Osiris Frost, and today I'm joined by Algared and Dasein. Today we're going to be talking about the upcoming Origin celebration, and I'll just kick it right off by saying that we've received a couple of images that we're going to start talking about. You want to pull those up? All right, so you can see those flashing on the screen below us, and we got some comments with these, if you guys want to talk about those.
Well, the big thing is they showed some of these pictures off in the ATV, whatever, Inside Star Citizen.
Right.
And when you actually look at this page that we were sent, you not only notice that there's some really cool extra customization options, but you also notice the pricing. They're actually doing something really smart. They're giving away certain customization options for free. And I really think that is a wise business decision. And they're bringing in true microtransactions at a really small dollar amount. And the fact that they're making this retroactive makes me think that this is a way of saying, hey, here's some cool stuff. Hey, you can do this in game. But then with the microtransactions, that's a great way to get money without having to continuously rely on ship sales.
It makes it good for people who've already got a lot of ships as well to modify their ships without having to do the melt routine, which has always been a bit of a problem for people, especially if they've got packages to upgrade a ship if something else comes out. So this enables them to have those ships, but just add the bits and pieces they want. So I think it's a good thing.
Definitely, I agree with you. This is a direction that I'd like to see CIG move more in. Give us those cosmetic type options, and they can raise all the money they want to that way. We did learn some stuff about some of those options, like the skins and some of the trim packages that they're gonna be offering. It looks like they have a first response. They call it. It's a white and orange skin for the 300, and then the Golden Dawn, which is white and yellow. And those are going to be free during the Origin celebration, so it's a limited time that you can pick those up. Dasein, what were some of the weapons loadouts?
Well, you have for the 300i, and this is what we know of, you have the G, C, and T. And when you look at them, the T loadout is honestly my favorite. That's the one that comes with a better power plant, cooler, and quantum drive, which honestly, quantum travel is a big complaint for a lot of people. All the stops, and that's really nice to see. But you also have the G and C, which actually change your whipping loadout. And when you look at the G, it seems to go gimbaled versus the actual C loadout, which has not only better parts, but goes into fixed weapons. So I think it's interesting to see this, but my biggest complaint, and this is going to go back to cellular fighters, while small microtransaction things are great for you to buy, in a way, it's just for cool flair if you like the look and don't want to have to redo it every time you lose your ship. These loadouts, you might as well get a Gladius at this point in time if you're trying to go for combat.
Right, at the price, yeah, you're starting to get up into Gladius price range once you modify your 300. Yeah.
Yes, but when you buy an Origin 300i ship, unless you're going the 325, you're not really going for combat. So, I tend to think if you're looking at Origin and you're wanting the customization, I'd still say these ships are better than a Gladius just because it's got the internal cargo bay. It means it can do the cargo missions. You can do, with the internal space, you can do those little courier missions with the boxes. You can't do that in a Gladius, and you can't do any of the cargo runs in a Gladius.
I think also that there's an important factor, which is that eventually CIG's plan is that this sort of customization will be available for all ships, right? And then there will be this sliding scale between the base model, base trim package, and then all the possible add-ons. And so you could always sort of rationalize, like, well, for like $5 more, I could get the next ship in line. But how is that going to compare to a fully decked out, whatever, like a 300i with all the
Convenience.
possible options compared to a base Gladius. Maybe, like Algared said, it can do certain things better.
Well, it can, but I'm just saying, if you're doing combat, you might as well go with your Gladius, especially if they are implementing this later on into other ships. But when you're looking at this as a whole with other ships, the biggest advantage you get is convenience. I know a lot of people are going to start screaming pay to win, pay to win, pay to win. No, you're going to be able to get this in game. You're just right now locking it into an insurance package, which will save you time and effort in actually going and picking stuff up.
No need to reset the configuration of your ship when you do after you reclaim it.
That is a huge quality of life improvement. Finally.
Such a blessing. So yeah, that in itself, I think, is the big thing.
So there was a lore post that came out this past week, and we were discussing how that ties into these packages here. Algared, do you want to fill our listeners in on that?
Yeah, well, the new the lore post comes in and talks about the ships that are available, and it talks about the infamous Goldfinch theft. And it got me thinking, because yes, the evil. The one of the things that I noticed in the lore post that they posted was that said this was originally posted in Jump Point 1.7, that modified recently. I went back and had a look at the original Jump Point, and when it talks about the 300 series, the original one said Origin currently manufactures 3 standard Origin series models, plus a variety of specialized limited run variants. And it went in then talk about the 3 standard models it's got. The new lore post doesn't talk about that. And so that got us thinking, was the Goldfinch scandal the new, is it tied in with the 300 series? Is it the reworked skin or the reworked model of the 300i? Is it tying in with the G package? Sorry, and will it come with a skin? Now we know that the Heartseeker made bank just because of a skin and a different loadout. We
Mustang
know
Vindicator,
the Mustang Vindicator, and even the Valkyrie, with their unique skins, were quite popular just because of a unique skin. So if the Goldfinch has a unique skin and it's a 300i specialized limited run variant, yeah, I could see it being the Goldfinch, and I could see it being a variant. I don't think I could see it being, I don't think CIG are going to bring something else in that's going to undercut this 300i variant. So I think anything that brings in is going to complement that.
I actually think it would actually be brilliant to see maybe something go live, like maybe going into something like the bike or even the rover, but that's extremely unlikely.
The bike? I thought we forgot all about that.
I'm just saying, they have the style guide, and I could have sworn someone said that they finished a ship and we're moving on to something else. So wishful thinking. I mean, make this Origin event special, because I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to sell the Origin pack again.
Right, yeah. And you mentioned a moment ago the Origin rover, which we've been waiting on a while. We have a graphic on that too, if you could pull that up. And this is a snippet from a larger picture which has been circulating around interwebs, and it looks like a package of Origin ships, which includes this reference to the Origin rover. But if you look at the description down there, it says, what is it, RSI? Type. I can't quite read that on my screen.
RSI ship type something EN, or so.
Right.
I do have to
and
mention,
there's no
though,
picture. It's kind of a
from
little
the
weird.
Legatus pack specifically. I actually was doing a little bit more research right before the show, and I actually found that this is actually from a post of someone talking about the Legatus pack.
I think I have to beg to differ, because I was looking at the Legatus pack and I can't see it in the Legatus pack. So maybe I've just missed it.
So anyway, my point is that this has been circulating out there, and a lot of people think that this indicates that we're about to get the Origin rover dropped on us at this sale, but I don't know that I believe that because of the lack of the picture and the RSI type description down there. I think that's too many weird things going on for me to actually believe this.
No hints.
What do you guys think?
Like, definitely not, because of it definitely doesn't look ready with the text and everything. The picture I could definitely understand them not having, but the other thing is they've given us 0 hints throughout the week. They always tend to leave some sort of breadcrumb somewhere, and I did not feel like they left any breadcrumbs, and that rover is definitely not Goldfinch.
Right, yeah, Goldfinch flies. They did leave, however, a breadcrumb in a different direction when that same article that mentioned Goldfinch also casually dropped a reference to the Origin 200 series. What do you guys think that might entail, and might we see that during this event?
Again, while I could see them bringing in the 200 series as another ship, I don't see them doing it. I don't see them bringing in a new ship that isn't benefiting from this microtransaction sale, because I think that's the big thing that they're really pushing in this celebration sale. You look at the email they sent out, and it talks about it being a sale of a celebration of the 2949 300 series, and it doesn't talk about something new or something extra. They might have game packages or packages with all the Origin ships, but I don't see them doing a 200 ship. It might be down the track, but yeah, I just don't see it.
Dasein, what do you think?
Definitely don't see it. Again, I understand them selling something extra with the sale, but it feels to me like it would be more of, again, if anything, it would have been, which I doubt, the rover, or maybe a flight ready X1, which again, both are very unlikely because those don't compete with a flying vessel. Those add on to the experience that you have. Yeah. The 200 also, in my opinion, it's not going to actually follow the normal naming convention with size, because there is nowhere in between the 300 and the 100 that makes sense. The only spot right now that makes sense is something like the Freelancer size. That makes sense.
The Origin 200 SCU ship.
It's a flying cargo box.
The Origin 200 meter carrier.
And
there is an exception to the naming convention, obviously the M50, but I think that with the 100, 200, 300 Dasein, excuse me, is right. There's no real gap between the 100 series and the 300 series.
And that kind of adds to that. I don't think it's there. And again, I keep coming back to Sergi's have a knack of, when they do a sale, not trying to undermine it, making it the key focus of everything we've got. And if a key sale and the key thing that we're pushing in the celebration next week is the actual variety and making the 300 ships our own, they're not going to do something that's going to detract from that. I could see an X1 being made available because an X1 would likely fit in the cargo bay of a 300.
Yeah, I think it will.
Whereas a rover, unlikely. So I could see them doing something that could complement the 300, but I couldn't see them doing something that wouldn't complement the 300 and that variety of sales. So,
well,
keep in mind also that the Ranger sale is still ongoing until June 10th, and if they were going to sell something like the X1, that might step on the toes of the Ranger. But anyway, I digress.
Well,
Dasein, you were about to say.
But I was actually wanting to go back to the Goldfinch for 1 second while we're talking about all of these cool things that could complement the sale. And this is a weird idea. Being as the M50 was a former, interceptor idea concept for the advocacy. I could totally see Goldfinch being an advocacy version of the 300 series. It would make sense for either the more ritzy areas or to actually maybe give some longer range or some different capabilities that the Avenger currently does not have. Just saying.
So do you think that that would mean it was something other than this 300 IG package that we talked about?
Definitely other than the G. The G is, I think, stands for gimbaled. That just makes sense. T for travel. C
combat.
I have no clue.
Components.
Yeah, definitely has more components, because if you actually look at the prices of those, that's actually rather interesting, because when you look at the prices, you're looking at like $2 for the G, $11 for the T, and then $24 for the dual Klaus and Warner. So you actually
you can see those prices right in the pictures there.
So
I think I'm inclined to agree with you that they're probably going to show a new variant of the 300 if they unveil anything new at the Origin Celebration, and elsewise, like Algared said, there's probably going to be package sales, maybe an updated Origin complete pack. A lot of people would be excited to see that, but probably no new concept ships at this stage. Is that what you guys think?
Yeah, I think I'd go down that line. I don't see a new concept ship, mainly because it'd undermine this sale with the ability to buy different seats and different beds and different guns and the variant packages. And I think they want to focus on that. They really want to trial that out, because this is a test bed for what we're going to do with everything else. So yeah, I can't see a totally different concept ship, but I could see a Goldfinch being a variant of the 300 series, whether it's a gimbal with a sleek paint job, a limited paint job, or something, or just a skin, or even a totally new variant, as Dasein says.
I also want to say that this whole sale is going to set a completely new tone for the future of concept sales, I think, because I could see them actually with their the way they design ships now for concepting, where they seem to have some of the layout already dealt with, some of the exterior already designed. I could actually see them running this sale as a tester to see how concept ship sales could go in the future, where you could actually start customizing it from the get-go.
Well, a couple of months ago, they talked about what was coming in terms of sales, and they had said, we want you to be able to buy your ship and buy the bits and pieces that go with it from the get-go. And this is basically that idea. So yeah, I fully see that's how concept sales will go in the future.
All right. Do you guys have any closing thoughts on anything that we've talked about? Anything that's going to happen for this Origin sale? No?
Save your money and get a Gladius.
All right, Dyson's not a fan.
I'll actually say that I'm not an Origin fan per se, because they are terrorists. They are based in terror. But I do like the 300. The 300 seems to have all the parts working together. I'm sorry, but it's true. But yeah, so that's about it.
All right. Well, I think that about does it for today's episode. If you liked this episode, like it. Leave a comment. Join us on Discord. Please join us on Discord. Whatever you think about it, let us know. Subscribe. You'll get notifications when we release new episodes. So for the Inforunners, I've been Osiris Frost. This is Dasein, and this is Algared. And we'll see you next time.